Do you want to know the secret to giving your children a major advantage in their adult life? The answer is simple, but the work is not easy. You can give your children a greater chance at success in life by having them commit to something beyond just their schooling and education and frequent use of technology like video games, YouTube, etc. For the last 10 years, I have coached youth sports, baseball and football. I also was an athlete in my youth and played many sports: football, baseball, basketball, ice hockey, and so on. I wasn't successful at all of them, but I learned a great deal about myself through them and my coaches. Whether or not you are currently an athlete or are previously an athlete, you undoubtedly have known a friend or relative that played sports. If not, you knew a teacher at one of your schools that played or probably coached a sport at your school. Sports are all around us and they are a big part of our society. I believe that all children should play a competitive sport. Sports competition teaches us valuable life lessons at an early age that translates into greater success as an adult. Does that mean you can't be successful if you don't play sports? Of course not. But sports will teach you, and children in this case, functional and applicable life skills that can give them an edge when they become adults. Fewer kids are going to college today. Undergraduate enrollment is down 4.2% from last year, and most of the decline was seen in community colleges, where enrollment dropped by more than 10%, from Smith ND. This is not a good sign for the future of our next generations. That means that we will have less skilled and educated workers to boost our economy. Some of this is because of the pandemic, which also makes me think that less kids had the opportunity to play high school sports and lost their desire to further their education. Newton's first law of motion is, quote, "An object in motion remains in motion and an object at rest stays at rest," from NASA 2021. I believe that idea also applies to our lives and the extracurricular commitments that we keep. If we are committed to something such as a sport and a team, I believe that we are more likely to continue to greater our commitments as our lives progress. We may be less intimidated by taking on more and challenging ourselves if we have past experience doing just that through sport. Now let's discuss a more constant and present cause that contributes to children staying at rest and choosing not to continue that growth into adulthood. We also live in a modern era of, quote, "constant immersion in technology," and there are some very real concerns about how this tech impacts childhood development, end quote, from Impact of Technology on Kids Today and Tomorrow, 2019. There are pros and cons to technology, but some of the negative effects of technology do not bode well for our future generations. To summarize, some of these effects include a lower attention span, risk of depression, obesity, and lack of social interaction. From Impact on Technology on Kids Today and Tomorrow, 2019. We are living in uncharted territory, and it's hard to fully understand the effects of less physical activity and less social interaction from the use of technology. But sports are a surefire way to get our children to be more active and more social. Time management for parents or guardians of today's generation is difficult. As adults, it feels like more and more of our time is demanded through work, school, and other responsibilities. It's easy to allow our children to be on screens and technology while we take care of our responsibilities. That may make it seem like adding a sport to your child's schedule would be too much, but it's all about preparation. And if you want your child to avoid some of the pitfalls, such as too much technology and falling secondary education, it's important to have a plan. Quote, "Using time effectively and controlling procrastination can help every activity be enjoyable and will help a child become a more successful person later on in their life," end quote, from Time Management for Young Athletes, 2018. So what exactly do sports do for our children to help them avoid falling into these traps of not pursuing college or struggling with social interaction and depression? Quote, "Life skills include leadership, problem solving, time management, and communication skills. Such life skills are vital, as evidence suggests that young people utilize the life skills learned through sport in other important life domains, such as education, the workplace, and personal relationships." End quote, from Cronin et al., 2022. Sports offer our children a break from technology and screen time. They get them outside and being active instead of on the couch, hypnotized by passive activities. They teach our kids about time management and commitment. Most sports require student athletes to maintain a passing grade level. This holds our kids accountable. They give our kids the opportunity to socialize and work as a team. Teamwork is an important skill in life, and sports provide opportunity for kids to make lasting friendships while also learning to respect their teammates and their coaches. From 5 reasons why your child should play sports, ND. Competitive sports or a higher level of competition at a youth age is most beneficial for many reasons. Research has suggested that through the sport model and structure that life skills can be developed both implicitly and explicitly. When the context of sport is well structured and coaches, parents, and peers create a positive developmental environment. From Cronin et al., 2022. As a coach of youth sports, I have seen firsthand the positive impact that sports has had at a higher level of competition on my players and children. When you enter your kids into a higher level, you will notice that more coaches and parents have a better structured plan and focus on the positive outcomes. Good coaches don't just teach sport, they teach life lessons, and they relate the challenges of sport to life situations. There are many intangibles that children learn by seeing these examples on a daily basis. Leadership and emotional skills are learned through example and by failure in sport. All children will fail in sports, but being surrounded by coaches and teammates with similar goals helps children understand that failure is a part of life and eventually learn to cope with and overcome it. I hope that whatever your position on the importance of sports in children is that you have seen today a different or expanded view of how competition can lead to more prepared and confident adults. Whether it's falling college enrollment rates or the constant presence and desire to spend time passively on technology, committing to a sport can separate our children from the average statistic. Only 60% of you played sports as a child based on my audience analysis survey. If you have children or friends or relatives with children, I challenge you to step out of your comfort zone and enter that child into a sport this year. The secret to success for the future of our country and our children begins with learning how to compete, fail, and overcome through sports.